Hey guys, it's Rachel from The Little Ring Lamb, and today I have a book review on The Lost World by Michael Crichton. Also, I hope the lighting is fine. I'm filming at 8:45 in the morning, and it's still really dark outside, so I'm not sure if this lighting is going to be good, but, just bear with me. Anyway, this will be a no-spoiler review, but if you haven't read Jurassic Park or you don't know anything about that, I'm not sure how much of this would spoil that, but because I'm pretty sure it's a well-known fact what happens because it is a film and a book. Well, book first, and yeah, so there'll be no spoilers on this book, but if I do say something that happened in Jurassic Park, I guess that'll be on you if you proceed with caution, I guess. That's what I'm trying to get across. If you're new to my book reviews or just need a refresher, I read my books in 5 different categories: plot, character, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of reading. Soon, 5 out of 5, and not so soon, 1 out of 5. So basically this book, I'm just going to read the tiny little synopsis because it is very small. So it has been 6 years since a secret disaster at Jurassic Park. 6 years since the extraordinary dream of science and imagination came to a crashing end. The dinosaurs destroyed, the park dismantled, and the island indefinitely closed to the public. There are rumors that something has survived. ... So this book, I started reading years ago. Like, I was still in high school when I was reading it, like grade 10 or something, when my cousin lent me the book. And I read a little bit of it, but I didn't really get into it and I put it down. I love Jurassic Park. I love the whole franchise. I do like the Lost World movie. I know that's not a very popular belief, but I really like all the Jurassic Park movies. The first one, nothing can beat it, for sure. Even Jurassic World, which I thought was really good, but like even that, being that new, nothing's ever going to beat it. Like, I'm even saying that before the next film, which comes out next year apparently, if, it keeps on schedule. And I have to say, I have fond memories of the second movie. So when I was going into reading this, I was expecting a lot of the movie stuff because I didn't know how different the book was from the movie, but they're very different. And this book apparently was commissioned so Steven Spielberg could go off and make another movie. And I'm not sure how much Michael Crichton's involvement was with the script. I think he did have quite a bit of involvement with the script, I know, at least for the first one. But it was like they took this book and he's like, oh, that's cute. Now, let's get some explosions up in here, some roaring dinosaurs all up in the city. Like, a lot of the stuff that happened in the film didn't happen in this. But then I kind of like this because if both were brainchilds of Michael Crichton, like, he's not going to be able to write another one because, sadly, he passed away in, I think, 2008. So having this be so much different than the film is actually really nice that I'm not going to get any more material in this world from this author, if that makes sense. And basically I'm going to go on to plot from that little, interlude. So plot, I give a 5 out of 5. This book, I don't even know, like, I feel like it rivals for me the first book. Like, the first chapter I'd say is really slow, but it just starts picking up the pace and it gets faster and faster. Now, the only thing I could hem and haw about this is, I really wish there are some more news articles or, like, you heard more of the public's perception about Jurassic Park. Like, I thought, like, what I think would be really interesting is either a film or a book talking about what the news channels would say. Particularly film. I know they probably won't even do this because it sounds probably boring to a lot of people. But to me, because I'm such a big fan of the franchise, like, I've watched the first movie over 100 times. I haven't reread the book. Like, I've read the book, I think, twice now. Like, I read most of it, the first one. And this is the first time reading the second one. But, like, I love this franchise so much. I am looking so forward to the next film. And I just wish there was a movie that was all, like, news clips, kind of. And it was like, like 2020, how they do those, like, specials sometimes. Like, they don't do just a general show, but they have, like, a focus. Lately it's been, like, all crime, like, the past few years. I haven't really tuned in a few years. But, like, have, like, a 2020 special news channels talking about Jurassic Park. Like, stuff that happened after the first movie. Like, I just think, like, having a news clip of a movie and it, like, shows news stories and stuff like that. And after seeing the park and we're seeing what happened in Jurassic Park, for the news to relate and see, like, fake news and real news and coming from the sources and interviews with the people. Like, they could even have, like, 20 years later interviews with the kids because the actors are already obviously grown up and stuff like that. Like, I think that would be really interesting. And if anybody else feels like that's going to be interesting, definitely let me know, because even though it's not really going to do anything, I just want to know if anybody else finds that interesting, or me, maybe because I'm just, like, nerdy with the franchise. But, we could justify it saying that fake news is such a phenomenon now that it'd be interesting to explore a concept that we know everything that happened in the park from seeing the movie to hearing about it. And that was a long interlude, so I'm very sorry about that. Anyway, back to the plot. I really liked everything that happened in this plot. I felt like it moved along fast, but not too fast. I didn't think it was as sciencey. Sometimes Michael Crichton's books are they have so much science in them, and I'm not a science person. I don't like science or math very much. I also struggle in math. I don't struggle as bad in science, but it's never been my forte. But I found this one a little bit lighter in the science. It was more science mixed with philosophy, and I personally study philosophy, so, and like anybody really that thinks about like big questions, it'd be easy for them to get. Like, they were talking a lot about evolution and how these animals are surviving on this, how like kind of how they were evolved, and if this is a real ecosystem that they can study and take data from, or is this a manipulated situation, which obviously is manipulated, but how manipulated is this situation? Yet again, I feel like the ending was a little bit skimpy. I really want to hear like at least 20 pages more. Yeah, I just feel like it wrapped up very, very quickly. And also, I really loved hearing about the ending. Like, this is not a spoiler, but they're talking about Kuru, which is like a brain disease, I believe it'd be classified as. And I didn't think that was a real thing. I saw that on Scream Queens this season. If any of you watched that show, they were talking about that. I thought it was just made up because I didn't do my research, and I was reading this and I was like, that's real? So that was a little bit of a surprise. I don't think that's really relevant to the plot, but we're going to move on to characters. Characters, I actually give a 5 out of 5. I really grew attached to these characters. I think more so than the first book, because we knew Ian from the first book, who was the main character in this novel. And having him, like, we know him when we're established, we got to see people in his world. And I think maybe because of the movie, like, Sarah Harding is another big character, and she's played by Julianne Moore in the film. So I feel like maybe it was also the film kind of leveraging, but I really want to go back and see the characters in the film and see if they line up with the characters in this book. But I really liked every character. Like, the one, Dr. Levine, was kind of annoying, but they needed somebody annoying, because you're not going to go on an adventure with everybody who's, you know, sane or not looking out. Like, you're going to have somebody who's going to be more selfish and annoying. It's just the odds with that many people. And I really liked Kelly and Arby. In the film, they only have one girl, and I think Ian's daughter. But Kelly and Arby aren't his, like, related to him, and they're in the novel, and I found them very interesting. They were kids they still acted like kids, but they were mature. Like, they had their moments of fear and stuff that they didn't understand what the adults were talking about, but they were useful and they didn't get in the way. Like, I think there's one instance when they got in the way, but they were useful and they actually aided the journey instead of abetted it. Like, they were, you know, really good. And my other character that I really enjoyed was Thorne and Eddie, but mostly Thorne. Whenever he was in a situation where he was in danger, I was always rooting for him to come out, because he was just not only caring about all of them, but he really nurtured the children and made sure they felt safe, which I found was very important, because this is a traumatic situation. And I feel like in the first book, because, you know, oh my gosh, Dr. Grant, because he was not a nurturer, he did his best, but I feel like Thorne was, like, really good for the children and stuff like that and kept them calm. And not to compare, I know I'm comparing, like, cross-laterally to, like, the movies and the book, so I'm really sorry about that if that's not super relevant. I feel like I keep apologizing for that, but we're just going to keep going. So, cover I give a 3 out of 5. This is not my favorite iteration of this cover. Like, it's okay because it matches the first one pretty well. I like the green on top of the silver and black. Like, I like those colors together, but I just feel like the silver is very bland for how exciting of a book this is. I don't think it encapsulates the excitement. But I really like this edition of, like, this is not a mass market paperback, but it's like this size of this. And then we have the back. So I really enjoyed that. Suspense I give a 5 out of 5. I want to keep reading this, but I have a really busy schedule of school this year. Instead of 5 classes, I have 6. So I was reading this, I was bringing it to school, I was reading on the bus before classes started, if there was, like, none of my friends were in the class and stuff like that. And I was trying to read, like, more of it each night and in between my breaks of studying. And it took me, I think, a week and a half or almost 2 weeks to finish this. And even though it took me a while, it's still really suspenseful. And I want to read as much as possible. Just sometimes I didn't want to start, like, a whole section when I had to, like, go to bed or something like that. And overall, for rereadability, I give a 5 out of 5. I definitely reread this in a heartbeat. And yeah, that's basically my book review on The Lost World by Michael Crichton. Let's discuss in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.